Times are tough these days, and for many of us, that means changes at home. In fact, one of the fastest growing segments of the population right now is multi-generational families living under one roof, which can present some challenges. We're all familiar with the concept of child-proofing a home, but what happens when grandma and grandpa move in? What are their needs? I'm John Weisbarth, and over the next 30 minutes, I'll show you all the easy things you can do to help turn your house into a home your entire family can enjoy. But we're going beyond that. We'll also hear from experts who have the data and, more importantly, the experience to help you turn your home into a safe, secure living space. This is Home Makeover Safety Edition. Meet the Wallace family, Eric, Niki, Caleb, and Keegan. This is their house, and since moving in 3 years ago, they've been hard at work to make it their own.
The day we moved in, I had 6 guys with sledgehammers, and we started tearing the kitchen out and ripping carpet out and working on the house.
It was a little dated when we moved in, so that was definitely something we kind of did together.
But the kitchen was only the beginning. The family room, the bedrooms, the backyard. Just about every space you can think of has been added to or redone by the family. And the focus has been on more than just style. Safety is a major concern for the Wallace family, and for good reason.
In 2007, my daughter passed away from an accident in the home, and even when that accident occurred, our house was pretty child safe.
The one thing that you would have never thought needed to be child-proofed is what tipped on her. It was a short 3-drawer dresser.
And she had opened the drawers to use it as a ladder and climb up, and in that process it came over on top of her. Normally
she took, quite a long nap in the afternoon, and it seemed to be running longer than normal, and I went and checked on her, and when I found her, the dresser had tipped down on top of her, so I found her under the dresser.
The phone kept ringing and going to voicemail and ringing over and over and over. And when I did answer, she had told me that she didn't think that Kendall was alive. And that, so I didn't know how to react, so I said, call 911 and, do CPR on her, because I know my wife was trained in CPR. And I raced out of there and rushed home and came home to police and fire trucks and an ambulance, and followed them to the hospital, and she didn't make it.
The only thing now is to prevent it happening to other families, to get the message out there that you need to look harder so that parents don't have to go through what our family went through.
In my line of work, we're taught a safety culture to watch out for our guys that are on the jobs, so I bring that home with me, and I thought that the house was safe, and it was one thing that was overlooked.
You think you have everything safe, have 10 more eyes come in and see what they see, get down on your hands and your knees and get at a child's level.
And so Kendall's story, while tragic, has become an inspiration for the Wallace family, and her memory one to be cherished. In fact, they were even given a star from the International Star Registry in Kendall's name.
We bring her up all the time, and we celebrate her birthday every year with a big camp out with friends and family, so she's remembered, because I think it's important for everyone.
So when we think about traditional trauma care, we always think about trauma centers. If you look at the statistics, 50% of all trauma-related deaths occur before the hospital phase. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, we can do as trauma care providers in the hospital to save those individuals. The only strategy for those patients is prevention. The public needs to be educated that trauma is a disease. So now trauma centers have to shift from the traditional approach in providing acute care. They also need to think about prevention strategies that will decrease the incidence of this devastating disease. The way we look at cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, we should look at trauma. And I think it's our job to educate the public in that regard.
So I'm going to take a guess here, but you must be John, the pool guy.
That's right.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm John.
Hi, John.
What are we doing here?
Putting finishing touches on an alarm. The family was good to get the fence put in around the pool, but we're just adding an extra layer of protection. We want our adults to be operating the gates, but just in case one of the kids gets to it, this alarm is going to let us know that we've had an unauthorized access.
Now, you mentioned layers a couple times, and I got to imagine there's a bunch of different layers to protecting it. So let's find out about that.
Well, come on in and we'll talk about another layer here. Well, first thing we want to do is we want to make sure and get you your water watcher tag and have you put that on right there.
All right, nice. So this is my backstage pass.
Exactly. You're our VIP, which means you're going to be our water watcher.
Okay.
You're making sure we know who's coming in, who's coming out. We have an adult who's always watching the water.
And I notice here, I've got my little responsibilities right here on the back of this, what I have to do. My question is, and I'm up to the challenge, is this something that I'm required to do for the whole party, or can I hand it off to somebody else?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The purpose of the water watcher tag is to make sure that we always have at least one adult who is focused entirely on the pool.
This is just part of the alarm system. There's something else we have over here as well, right?
That's right. So we can come over here and we can look at the second part of this this turtle system, which is a wristband. So this is going to be worn on the child's wrist.
Okay.
And this is telling us that if they get past all the other layers of protection and are actually now playing with the water, this is going to sound off on our base unit, which is going to be at the house.
All right, so we have the base unit, but I'm almost afraid to ask how this works, but go ahead and show me.
All right, so imagine this is going to be attached to our child's wrist, and they come down, they want to touch the water, they stick it in the water, and we're going off.
Oh, wow, that's not quiet.
No, and it shouldn't be.
I just
we
turn it
want
off
to make
here?
sure we know, yeah.
But as we've already said, safety is about different layers of protection. The turtle alarm system offers an excellent warning, but it's not a barrier like a fence or a vinyl pool cover, which, according to John, will keep almost anything out of the pool.
So what we have is an actual safety pool cover. This will support the weight of a whole entire family.
That'll hold people out?
That'll hold everybody. You throw anything at it, it's going to hold them up.
Of course, pools are for swimming in, and there are things to be aware of once you're actually in the pool. Chief among those is your pool drain cover.
But on our older pools, all the suction was right on the top.
Okay.
And so that runs the risk of a child getting suction down to the floor of the pool. Our new drain covers are raised off just enough so that now we have our suction happening around the edges of the drain cover. That way nobody can get stuck down to it.
And the last pool safety tip was probably the most surprising for me. While we were walking around, John noticed a kiddie pool with some water in it that the family was using for the dog to play around in. According to John, that pool should be treated just like any other pool. If there's water in it, you have to supervise it. So the best thing to do is empty it when you're not using it.
A child only needs a couple of inches to drown. And so what we need to make sure of is when we've got water in it, it's being supervised. When we're not using it, it gets drained. We don't want to leave a hazard out in the yard.
John, thank you so much. You've done a lot of good work here. I feel confident about the pool safety. There's a lot more work to do inside though. So that's where I'm headed. All right, you must be Captain Brad.
Oh, hi, John. How are you?
Very well, very well. Nice to meet you. So, looks like you're doing a little home inspection here.
Just doing a home fire safety inspection to make sure our homeowners are fire safe.
Okay, well, we're in the kitchen, and I know a little bit about the kitchen. I'm guessing, yeah, a lot of fire, a lot of burn hazards here. What are some common sense things?
Well, I found a few things. We always want to make sure our pot handles are faced in.
Yeah.
And usually, as much as possible, try to use the back of the back burner. Notice our homeowners here have some handles covering the burner knobs. Sometimes you can turn this knob a little bit, and the flame won't come on, and there will be gas going. Gas going.
Fills up with gas.
Right.
But burn hazards aren't only limited to fire. In the kitchen, boiling water can oftentimes be even more dangerous than an open flame, especially around the microwave.
You see, in this case, this microwave is about head high, so same with the range. You have to be careful with hot liquids and hot food. You can see as you take something out of here, what level we're on, about equal to our face. So we have to be very careful when we're removing foods. Remove slowly, make sure they're covered. Be very safe when you're removing hot foods and liquids from the microwave.
And that one's for everybody, not just kids. So adults, pay attention. Of course, fire safety is a home-wide concern, and Captain Brad brought some show and tell to help illustrate that point. I see a couple alarms here. Obviously, I recognize the fire alarm. I see a carbon monoxide alarm here as well. But let's start with fire alarm.
Smoke alarms, very important to have in our home. Make sure we place them on every level of our home, outside of every sleeping area and inside bedrooms.
Carbon monoxide, I've heard of these. I don't have one, but I know that's the law now, right?
Very important to have a carbon monoxide detector. You're right, July of last year, they're mandatory in single-family homes. Big debate on where to place these things. It's more important just to have one. When in doubt, follow the manufacturer's recommendations.
Okay, so that begs the question. The alarm starts to go off, then what? And I see the evacuation plan here. Now, it's all about having a plan?
It's all about having a plan. Go over it with all the members of your family. It's really important to have 2 ways out of every room, a door or a window. Make sure all of our family members are on the same page. It's great to have one person in charge and decide who's going to get what child to get out. Again, get them outside to a meeting place. Could be a mailbox, could be a door or a rock, could be a big rock or a big tree at the end of the driveway, as long as everybody knows where our meeting place is at. And under no circumstances should you go back in the house. Once you're out, stay out.
And practice that plan, right?
Practice that plan, not only in the daytime, but practice that plan at night as well.
After talking fire safety with Captain Brad, it was time to meet Sue Cox, the Director of Trauma Services at Rady Children's Hospital, to get her impressions on the state of our makeover, starting in the living room.
This living room is really kid-friendly, and when you look at this, no coffee tables with glass tops. I mean, this is soft. Babies can go around it and not hurt themselves. Nice rug here that the kids can kind of recline on.
Plus a fireplace with heat-resistant tempered glass and a TV that is securely anchored to the wall. The one area on our checklist, this cabinet by the fireplace. With a bunch of loose cords and no child safety lock, this is an area I'll be sure to circle back to. And don't forget about things like cleaning supplies under the kitchen sink. Even with child safety latches, your best bet is to simply remove them from the environment and lock them away somewhere out of reach. In addition, make sure all your medications are safely stored out of reach, even the ones that may seem harmless. Almost anything can be poisonous in the wrong dosage. All right, so this is a guest room. Now, our family, you know a little bit about their story, the tragedy they had with their daughter, Kendall. They've asked us to come in here and inspect it. It's newly remodeled, and the first thing I see, this TV here, is that a problem?
It is a problem. It's a dangerous situation that they can fix pretty easily. There are actually products that they can get. One product to secure the dresser to the wall, and one to secure the TV to the wall.
Which sounds like a couple more things to add to my list. But as Sue explained, when it comes to a guest room, the trick is to treat it just like any other room.
It doesn't take that long to go through a room and really see what might be dangerous for a little kid.
But what about rooms designed for kids? Well, that depends on the age of the children, but the basics are the same throughout the house. Strap down furniture, keep beds away from the window, and if you're using a crib, remember, less is more. No stuffed animals, no fluffy toys, and no big blankets. You don't want anything in there that could be a suffocation hazard.
The other thing that we say is back to sleep. We're always preaching back to sleep, so babies should be back on their backs going to sleep, not on their side and not on their stomach.
For older kids like Caleb, it's important to remember that little brother's gonna be in his room as well, and small toys that might be appropriate for him could be a choking hazard for Keegan.
A thing you can do is actually take a toilet paper roll, take one of these toys and just test it. If it'll fall through, it's a choking hazard.
And that one fell through.
That one fell
Little
through.
stormtrooper. The last thing you can do, and this might be the most important, is to get your kids involved in injury prevention. And a great way to do that is with Kendy's Color Me Safe coloring books. The Wallace family helped develop it, and it's available on the internet for anyone to download.
Well, one of the areas that we really want to stress is that kitchen is probably one of the most dangerous areas of the house. It only takes a moment. And the stories that we hear, they were in the room with them. They turned to do something else in the room as they're fixing dinner, and the child got into something. And so they're pulling down pots and pans from the actual stove. They're pulling down hot containers of liquid that are on the counter that are there to cool, or things that have been placed out onto the table to cool. And so it takes almost a nanosecond in time for this to happen. We do not hear stories of people, parents going to another room to answer the doorbell. These are things that happen in a moment. So we encourage you not to have your children in the kitchen while you're actually preparing dinner.
So we all recognize the need to protect our wall outlets, but something that you maybe hadn't thought of before is that you have to protect these from children. That's what this thing is all about. So I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so it's pretty simple. It's in 3 pieces. You first put this first one in here. This part here then will slide right through like that. Little slot here, big enough for the cords to come through, but not for the plug. And then this part clicks in here. Now what you have here, you can't have kids come in here, and even if they yank on these cords, they can't get to the electrical power outlet here, which is what you want to avoid. And also, it just sort of cleans up the space in there. Less clutter is the better when you're talking in terms of safety. Put this somewhere else, maybe in a drawer somewhere that you can close, that you can latch. But this now, child-proof, and quite honestly, looks a lot better. Which brings us to the guest room, where we've got 2 projects to take care of. Strap the dresser to the wall and strap the TV to the dresser. First up is the dresser, and the most important thing here is to be sure and anchor the straps into the 2x4 studs in the wall. That's where all the strength comes from. When attaching the other end of the furniture, make sure you drill into a solid cross piece as well. Same idea as the wall studs. Do that to both sides, then just tighten the straps, and you're done. Strapping down the TV is even easier. We're gonna use these earthquake straps. You can get these at any local hardware store, and these things are so simple. We don't have to find a stud, we don't have to do any drilling. It's all just stick them. So we take the stick them off and we stick it here to the back of the TV. The big end goes right here. We do the same thing with the little end. As you can see, this one has a little sticky thing as well. That's simple. I just line it up. I just put it down right here. Once it's down, I adjust the strap right here, take the slack out of it. Now that thing is adjusted. And as you can see, this thing is not going anywhere now. I'll do one on the other side and we're all done. So at this point, we've got the hutch, that's strapped, we've got the TV strapped. We're totally safe in here. We don't have to worry about any kind of falls. Which just leaves the bathroom, where you need to be aware of the possibility of a small child falling headfirst in the toilet bowl and drowning. Certainly easy to avoid though. That's what this is. It's not a fancy back scratcher. This actually will secure the lid so that a really young child can't get in there and open it. But it's easy enough to disable so that anyone else can come in and do their business. Let me show you how it works. It could not be simpler. Little suction cup action right here. Put it up against the back, the tank of the toilet here. Flip the levers. Now it's suctioned on there good, and it prevents the toilet seat from being lifted up. If you have to go to the bathroom, you come up here, you slide this back, lift, slide over, piece of cake. Now I'm using the bathroom, everything's good. I don't have any mess to clean up on the floor. I put it down, flip it back. We're safe and secure again. And that's really the name of the game here, safety. All right, the work continues here at the Wallace household. As you can tell, we are in the backyard, and one of the biggest aspects of this project has been that play set in the backyard, making it safe and moving it. The guys from the Backyard Adventure are here to do that. I'm here to assist. It's time to get dirty. Looks like I'm a little late to the party. You must be Tony.
I am.
I'm John. Nice to meet you. You guys have already started working.
Yeah, we have. Basically, we're going to move the play set from here over to there. We're going to take the ladder, rock wall, and slide off, and then carry the unit whole over, set it down, build the border, and put the mulch in.
Okay, so not a lot of disassembly,
Not
a lot of carrying.
A lot of carrying, but it's not too far to carry. 2, 3 up.
And it's a good thing too, because that bad boy was heavy, and I was on the light end. So we couldn't take this apart more, huh?
No.
Okay.
Got a 10?
Yeah. All right, close enough? I guess X marks the spot, huh, guys? Good enough?
That's good enough.
All right. So with the playset in position, now it was time to put the ladder and the rock wall back on, build the border, anchor it in position, put down the weed liner, and start filling it with mulch. So what is this stuff? It looks like bark, but it's definitely not bark.
It's actually tires, old tires that have been shredded up.
Okay.
And colored.
All right.
And the color stays on. In the beginning, there's a little bit of tire dust, but that goes away quickly, so it's not too dirty, and it's just an easier product to work with.
How am I doing here, by the way?
You're doing great.
Nice.
Because we're going to pour it out, then we're going to rake it off so we get the good, even distribution.
Tony's been doing this full time now for about 3 years, and it's pretty obvious that he likes what he does.
I get to be Santa Claus every day. I leave, and the kids are going crazy, the parents are happy, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. I get to work in the sun and play.
You're the man in the white hat that comes in to save the day, I guess.
I am, yes.
Or the big red hat, I'm not sure which.
One of the two.
All right, I'm no expert, but boss, I feel like we're about done. We get your seal of approval here?
Yeah, everything looks good. We've spread the mulch out evenly. The border's up, playset's set. Everything's tight and ready to go, so.
You feel good about it?
I feel good.
I feel good about it as well. I tell you what I especially feel good about.
What's that?
Handing this rake back over to you. It was fun helping, but I'm all done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, I'm back inside. Well, so far, obviously, we've been doing a lot with child safety here in the home, but as we've already told you, the occurrence of multi-generational families living under a single roof is growing these days, which is one reason I'm very excited to welcome Kristen Smith to the home. She's from the county's Aging and Independent Services. And Kristen, first of all, thank you for taking some time to come see us.
Well, thank you. It's really great to see a family preparing so much for living with an intergenerational family and preparing for aging in place. You know, we all want to stay in our homes, and the way to do it, start early.
All right, well, let's talk about what they are doing here today, because obviously, as we've said, we're doing a lot of childproofing, but the issues with childproofing and then making a home safe for older adults, there are different ones there.
Yes, exactly. The issues are different. For older adults, our major concern is falls. As we age, we're more likely to fall. In fact, after age 65, 1 in 3 people fall.